Which Marvel movie do you think is the best of all time? The MCU is so vast and varied these days that the franchise warrants its own ranked list. Even though we love the MCU, we can't deny that not every Marvel Studios movie is a smash hit. We're looking at you, Thor, The Dark World. Watch the whole video to find out which 10 Marvel movies we think are the best of all time. However, before we begin our countdown, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. Number 10. Thor, Ragnarok. Before Ragnarok, Thor's movie journey was kind of crap. Even though the first Thor movie isn't terrible, it's also not very good. And Thor, The Dark World? There's just something about the theatrical superhero who looks more at home in a Shakespeare play than the modern world that Marvel struggled with at first. But as the saying goes, the third time is the charm. Ragnarok is one of the funniest movies in the MCU because director Taika Waititi didn't try to hide Thor's funny side. Instead, he played it up, which was a brilliant choice. Plus, Hulk came along since he couldn't have another solo movie, and Loki, and a lot of cool new characters were brought into the MCU. And who could forget one of the MCU's best bad guys? Hela, who was evil and wonderful. Number 9. Spider-Man, Homecoming. Fans already felt like they'd seen too many versions of Spider-Man by the time the MCU teamed up with Sony to make its version. But boy, were they glad that Marvel went ahead with Captain America, Civil War anyway, and introduced Spider-Man. A lot of the character's success is due to how well Tom Holland fits the role. After a great performance in Civil War, Homecoming was his first solo story. Peter Parker wanted to join the Avengers, but director Jon Watts kept the superhero on track by giving him a classic neighborhood fight with the villain the Vulture. When combined with a high school story that could have been written by John Hughes, Homecoming is the best of the MCU. It is a painfully human story about superheroes. Number 8. Iron Man. Since it was the first MCU movie ever made, it's hard not to treat the first Iron Man movie with a lot of respect. But trust us, it's not on our list of the 10 best Marvel movies ever just because it was the first. It's also a great example of how to make a movie about how a superhero got started. It has everything you could want, a charismatic but flawed hero at the center of a story about doing the right thing, and a lot of cool gadgets. Let's not forget that one of Iron Man's best parts is his gear. The Iron Man suit was, and is one of the most badass weapons in the MCU, and Tony Stark, who wore it, made it even better with his cocky but likable personality. Even though the fight between Iron Man and Ironmonger isn't very big by today's MCU standards, it fits with Iron Man's path to becoming one of the most famous superheroes in movies. Number 7. Captain America, Civil War. In Captain America, Civil War, which is also called the Avengers 2.5, everyone's favorite superhero team broke up because they didn't agree on how much freedom they should have. Team Captain is on one side, and Team Iron Man is on the other. When the two teams meet, you get one hell of a superhero movie. Civil War is one of the best Marvel movies because it took the tension between Captain America and Iron Man, which had been building up for a while, to a new, devastating level. We saw the superhero family we'd come to know and love torn apart. Civil War was much more fun to watch than any fight with a common enemy. It also hurt fans deeply and would have long-term effects on the MCU. Plus, it was the first time we saw Black Panther, who is one of the best new heroes in the MCU. Number 6. Black Panther. When it comes to Black Panther, his movie is also one of the best Marvel films ever made. The rich and colorful world of Wakanda is a beautiful backdrop for the superhero's solo adventure when he goes back home to become king after the events of Civil War killed his father. As you might expect, not everything goes as planned, and Killmonger, one of the best Marvel villains, is one of the reasons Black Panther is one of the best Marvel movies. The fight for the throne is an emotional and action-packed story that left fans wanting more and solidified Black Panther as one of the best new superheroes in the MCU. Number 5. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. People often say that the MCU movies are so good because they are first great comedies, action, and thrillers, and then great superhero movies. If that's true, then Captain America, the Winter Soldier is definitely one of the best spy movies ever made. Steve Rogers is still getting used to modern life when the Winter Soldier comes into his life. This is because he just got unfrozen and saved the world in the Avengers. The Deadly Assassin is more of a legend than a real person, but he starts a chain reaction that will turn Captain America's whole world upside down. The Winter Soldier is not only an important movie in the MCU timeline, but it also has the best action scene you will ever see, that elevator scene. Number 4. Spider-Man: No Way Home. By the time Marvel Studios teamed up with Sony for its version of Spider-Man, fans already felt like they'd seen too many versions of the web-slinging hero. However, the Spidey trilogy has become one of the best in the MCU thanks to the perfect casting of Tom Holland and Jon Watts' vision as a director. And Spider-Man: No Way Home, the last movie in the trilogy, is without a doubt the best of the three. The story picks up right where Far From Home left off. Spider-Man is still dealing with the effects of Mysterio revealing his true identity. He tries to get Doctor Strange to help him forget everyone. But the spell goes wrong and causes the different universes to crash into each other. This is bad news for them, but great news for fans because it means we'll get to see Spider-Mans played by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, as well as some of the best villains from their movies in the MCU. Number 3. Avengers: Infinity War. Imagine Avengers. Infinity War is like the Avengers, but like 1000% bigger. At this point in the MCU, there are a lot of new superheroes who show up in Infinity War to try to save everyone from Thanos and his deadly plan to make the universe balance out. Given how many characters, worlds, and weapons were in this movie, to say it could have been a mess is an understatement. However, the Russo brothers pulled it all together into a movie that not only makes sense, but is also one of the best Marvel movies out there. Infinity War, which is both action and heart, raises the bar for the MCU and sets up Endgame to raise it even more. Number 2. Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxy are made up of a raccoon, a tree, Thanos' daughter, a grief-stricken murderer, and a wisecracking man-child. This might not seem like the best group of heroes, but they could give the Avengers a run for their money. Even though the idea for the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie didn't initially appeal to people who weren't into comic books, it's now widely considered to be one of the best Marvel movies ever made. And a big part of that is because of how silly it is and how great the music is. Number 1. Avengers: Endgame. So, which Marvel movie do we think is the best of all time? Of course, Avengers: Endgame. Since it's the last book in the Infinity Saga, it might seem like an obvious top pick, but there's more to it than that. Endgame is great for a lot of reasons, like Cap using Mjolnir, that badass female superhero scene, and finally hearing Cap say Avengers, assemble. It also brings time travel to the MCU, which is pretty cool. This is pretty mind-blowing in terms of what it means for future movies, and we also got to relive some of the most important moments in the MCU before saying a tearful goodbye. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching and see you next time.